Welcome to Life Today Live. I'm Randy Robinson, and I'm letting the stream spin up and let you guys jump in here because this is going to be a fun program today. I've been excited about this one. Okay, yeah, we're online. YouTube is online. We're all good. Chat is open. We are live right now. Of course, if you're catching the replay, you can always come back here live at noon Central Time. That's Texas time to get involved in the chat. But today's going to be a little bit more lighthearted. This is a good break from the seriousness of all the coronavirus that's just been weighing us down. Because we're going to talk about movies, and we're going to talk to an actor. And I want to open this by telling you a little story. And this is 100% true. You can go back and look. And I don't know, it's been a while, but Priscilla Shirer was on the broadcast show, and Sheila Walsh and I were hosting. We were talking about the movie Overcomer. And I said right there, and I feel a little qualified because I studied film in college. I worked here. I was a film critic. You hear the laughing. That's our ACT Film Commission. I was a film critic for a newspaper, which is probably the worst thing an actor. But I feel like I can judge a little bit. I told Priscilla Shirer, I said, Cammy Arnett was phenomenal in Overcomer. And she said, oh, he's a great guy. And she said nothing but nice things. But I went, seriously. Especially when you watch Christian movies, you're just hoping they're not bad actors. Unfortunately, they've gotten really good lately. But when you see an actor that you go, this guy can hold his weight anywhere, in any production, any movie, this guy is high quality, high caliber actor, and you love the fact he's in a Christian movie and he's a Christian. We got him on Skype with me right now. Cameron, also known as Cammy Arnett. How you doing out there, brother?
Man, we are extremely well. Thanks for having us.
I'm so glad to have you. Now, and I do mean that, and I didn't tell you that ahead of time because I want to set you up a little bit. But legit, your performance, you were in a bed the whole time, which is crazy in Overcomer.
Yeah.
And it was, I won't do this the whole time. I won't go fanboy on you the whole time. But I just want you to know, I thought you were fabulous.
Man, thank you so much. It is quite a reward from God to be able to use the talents that He gave you in the first place to represent Him, and having come from Hollywood and having to have left it and everything else, and to see 25 years later that God opens the door, and this by coincidence, if you would, orchestration of God to meet Alex Kendrick and to be chosen to do this. Man, I tell you what, it was a dream, and it is a dream come true, because to be able to represent Him, to speak His words, and to lead people towards Christ is the whole purpose for which we do what we do. And so, man, I'm extremely grateful.
I'm not going to go too hardcore movie nerd on you, but I've seen enough movies to know that the director plays such a huge part of an actor looking good.
Yes.
Because I've seen some great actors with lousy directors, and it is not good. And I've seen some pretty mediocre actors with really great directors, and they come off great. How does that play into your decision making?
Man, you are so right. As a matter of fact, you sound like you've been part of my conversations. You can get a good actor in bad direction, and it is abysmal. And so, again, the fortunate aspect of having the storytelling of the Kendricks. These guys know how to tell a story, and they know how to tap into the heart of God. And so they've been doing it for a while now, and to work with Alex was just like a dream come true, to be able to be on that set. And I tell people everywhere that I go that being on that set was like a slice of heaven, because you got an opportunity to actually be in a place where synergy was so, it was thick. The atmosphere was thick with Christ, thick with love, thick with unity, and that's what they nurture, and they don't just make good movies. That's who they are. And extremely fortunate to work with Alex, because he not only does he write it, but also he allows you to kind of collaborate with the stream of his mind, of what he's doing and what he sees. And by the grace of God, he allowed the Holy Ghost to show up in me, and to just watch that come on the screen. You're right. It takes having a good director that's able to not only tell you what he wants and what he sees, but also pull it out of you to make sure that he gets exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah, that is so true. And the Kendricks brothers, they have just gotten better and better and better and better. Because I've been watching them over the years, going to the sneak previews out at NRB and things like that. And seriously, those guys have really learned the craft, and so
Yeah,
it's
they have.
exciting. So when you get some good writing, because it starts with the writing with a screenplay,
Mhm.
and you get a good director, and you want a good director of photography, then it really makes a place where somebody like you can shine. But I'm curious, you talk about the environment on the set. This is another thing Priscilla Shire talked about.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to hear you guys on the same page. I know you're telling the truth, but you see, you know the difference, because and I don't want to get into age too much, but let's just say that you were in Miami Vice.
Yes, sir. You don't get age, but let's just say.
Exactly. But Star Trek,
Yeah.
Generations. You're in a movie with Ben Stiller and Jason Schwartzman. So you know what you're talking about when you contrast, the business
Yeah.
with a Christian film set.
Yeah.
So what exactly went on, or goes on, I should say, because I got to mention the new movie you're in, I Still Believe, which I have not had the chance to see yet. Jeremy Camp's story, right?
Yep. I mean, phenomenal film. Again, Irwin brothers, in love with Jesus, work totally different from the Kendricks, but again, you're watching that God move between the two of them, and it's just flawless. It's seamless. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
So tell me a little bit though about the environment on the set on a day-to-day basis. What makes that such a great place for you to work?
Yeah, well, again, for those of you who don't know my backstory, I was in Hollywood, did a lot of episodics, movie of the week, those kind of things, and I had gotten to the point where I was actually in Toronto, Canada, doing a movie of the week, and they called me from there, said, we want to see you in California. So when I went back home, I ended up getting a television series, which would have been my first starring role television series, and right before I signed for it, they say, oh, by the way, we want you to do partial body nudity. And it's like that halt happened in your spirit, and it's like I can't do that, and so I had to choose Christ instead of career, and all hell broke loose, everything fell apart. But that's kind of what you run into when you come into the Hollywood game, and it's not only it was not only true then, but it's escalated, man. Right now, you're having people doing sex scenes that are almost real. And so to the point now that they're having to have people on the set to make sure that people are not touched inappropriately, those kind of things. And so it's a massive shift or a change, a difference between being on a secular set and a Christian set. And so the tension, the yelling, the head games, all these kind of things that happen in the world. And it's like that little microcosm of a world when you're on the set, and you're dealing with egos and all that kind of stuff. And so to see it and to experience it and to be a part of it so differently on this side, it is a blessing of God, a reward of God. And I'm looking forward to the rest of what God is doing within the industry on the Christian side, because really it's still just beginning. It's still at a I would say a toddler stage. Even with the Kendricks, with their sixth film, which is Overcomer, I think it's been around 15 years. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the industry based on the length of time that Hollywood has been around, it's really just fledgling, just getting started. So it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Just curious, were you raised a Christian, or did something happen to you midstream? Or?
No. I am originally from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, so I was raised voodoo.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like America. Everybody says this is a Christian nation, and everybody says that they're a Christian, but people don't go to church. And so when you come from Haiti, everybody's it's a Christian. People think that they're Christian, but it's all laced in with voodoo, Catholicism, all these kind of things. And that was the background of my family, and up until when I was around 21, I got saved but not converted. I got saved at a church that taught me how to get saved every Sunday. So for 5 years, I kind of lived in torment. I didn't know how to live. I had a conscience now, but I didn't know how to actually live like Christ. And when I was 25, I got converted and everything changed. But my upbringing was definitely not Christian, even though it may have been said in name, but totally, a voodoo mindset, a whole other spirit mindset.
Okay, now you said something that I got to follow up on, because you talked about getting saved, but then getting converted. Mm-hmm. What exactly did that mean? What did that look like?
Well, we all say the sinner's prayer, right? We all receive Christ as our Lord and Savior. And when you take a look at the words of Jesus, he says it's out of his kingdom that he's going to come and separate. And also he says, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and don't do what I say? So there's all kinds of people within the church, within the four walls. Jesus himself said that, in the church there are four kinds of ground and only one is good. And so you could have repeated the word, you can go to church on Sundays, but that doesn't mean that you're living the life. And conversion is about having him as Lord. A lot of people have him as Savior, and he really can't save unless he's Lord. But they kind of separate the two. But Lordship is so that he can save. In order for him to save, you have to be able to do what he tells you to do. And he says, "Those who love me, those are the ones who keep my commandments." And so, there's a difference between being saved in the sense of saying the prayer. I don't mean that somebody's saved and not going to heaven.
Right.
But I'm saying that you'll never have heaven here, nor will you be able to bring heaven here, nor will you be able to give heaven to anybody else. That's conversion.
Yeah, I hear you. We're talking about spiritual maturity. We're talking about walking in the kingdom here, and I get you. I get you. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about movies. I want to roll through your filmography here. And I'm going to start with Miami Vice and roll my way up.
Oh my God, and go up.
This from your website. Right? So there's Miami Vice.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Equalizer, an old TV series, Stars and Bars, China Beach. People remember that. Yeah. We've Star Trek. We've got Doogie Howser. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So now, talk a little bit about some of your experience in all these, starting from the beginning and rolling.
All of it was fun. All of it was great experiences. I don't remember any of them in an fond way. Again, going through the industry has its issues. On set, dealing with people, doing all the politics and everything else of the industry. It's there, and at the time too, though, because of not necessarily being a Christian, it was just a part of life and how it went. You never really thought of it any differently than anything else. But I remember those things with fond memories because it was, even though I didn't know God, it was him training me, getting me prepared, getting me entrenched, learning the skill, learning how to deal with different personalities, all these things that you didn't know were part of who you were going to be and what you were going to do. God allowed the world to train you. It's like Moses going, into Pharaoh's house. Man, God allowed Pharaoh to make him as excellent as he could be in other areas so that God can use him, in all areas. And so that's what happened to me with the industry. And so that's what those things were to me. And now being on the Christian side, I bring a wealth of experience and also training to the marketplace of Christian film. And I'm very happy to be able to not only work, but also to impart that to other Christians. One of the things that I try to do in my teaching all the time is to get Christians to understand we're not filmmakers, we're his storytellers. And so it's very important that we don't duplicate Hollywood in the process. And that's what I love about the Kendricks. They have shown, and God has shown through them, that success can be had. He will promote people who do it his way. And they've been an extreme example of that and worthy to be followed in that arena.
Mm-hmm. What are you working on now? Anything going on? I mean,
well,
obviously
right now I'm sitting around home like everybody else.
Yeah, right.
As a matter of fact, before everything kind of boiled down to being at home in quarantine, I just finished doing a television series that's being pitched right now. So it's kind of on a down low, but the bottom line is that, again, God has been opening so many doors, and I've in the last 6 or 7 years, I've done 20 to 21 films.
Wow.
And it's been mind-blowing. And like I said, I know that it's just beginning. And so to see God just overtake the industry is nothing short of a miracle. At the time where it's so decadent, yet the void of moral goodness and righteousness and things that are good for the family is exactly what God is exploding within the midst of the industry. And Christian filmmaking now is the fastest growing genre in the industry.
Yeah.
So it's miraculous.
Yeah, you look at the money on some of these, and you'd think that Hollywood would wake up to them a little faster, but they seem a little slow on the uptake on the financial side of things.
Well, Satan is about an agenda. and
Yeah.
when you realize that even money is going to be foregone, he forgoes money for the ability to bring a wrong message, to be insidious. And so that shows you right there how bad things can actually be, and what the agenda and how dark it is. Because you're right, when it comes to family friendly films, when it comes to children's stories, there's a huge vacuum that can be filled, and it's very lucrative.
Yeah.
Hollywood is willing to forego that in order to bring the wrong thing to the masses, and normally is to your children.
I
Our
would I would like to argue with you because I heard growing up, Hollywood, well, they're just about the money. Well, they don't care about anything about the money. And then Christian movies started making money. And
uh-huh.
I mean good money because I have tracked this, like the
Oh yeah,
Kendricks brothers, I've
oh
tracked
yeah,
them all the way through. And you look at the cost to make the film and the revenue it brought in, that
correct.
is an instant success and replicable, or
Mhm.
something that could be replicated. But they don't do it. And I go, okay, it's not about the money with them. And so, I mean, I can't argue with you,
Yeah, there's a
So I think it
certain
opens
point
the
in
door
time.
for people like you.
Well, yeah, no, it is. Again, when I teach people, when I teach actors especially, I'm telling them that right now you are in a prime time, because you do not have to even think about giving up your morals, giving up Christ for your in order to use your gifts and your talents, because now you have a home base. Now you have what
Hmm.
God is building, and is building it in your time just for you, so you don't have to listen to Hollywood at all.
Yeah.
And so right now you're looking at um, Hollywood has made us money, and it's made us money on many things. At the beginning, of course, family friendly, and it was the church that pulled out of Hollywood that made it even go even dark as it is now.
Mm.
And so we see God now reinstituting that, and on His own terms. And so yeah, people don't have to violate their convictions any longer. And they never really had to, which is
Right.
what I found that I didn't have to do. But now it's they have a home base to
Yeah.
come to,
More opportunity in the
more
business.
opportunity, a
So
lot.
I'm curious. You say you're not doing anything now because, like everybody else, you're quarantined. Are you?
Well, we're creating from within. My wife and I, we have Camionet Production Studios, and so that is what the church has become, is a builder of content. And
Yeah.
so we're always, either writing or conceptualizing, or partnering with other people, all
Mm.
in the process of understanding that once this is all done, we got to hit, the pavement running. So all of that is still being done, and we have, like, right now, I have a couple of partners that we're doing a monologue challenge on the internet, and that's off and running, and it's doing extremely well. And so we're always keeping tabs on keeping connected with the industry, and keeping connected with the actors, and with the saints at large.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, for me, I tell people again all the time, I'm an actor because God chose me to put me back in. But above everything else, I'm a preacher of the gospel. So that keeps me always connected. There's always something to say and to do,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm not void of work.
Good.
But
Good. Well, what I was going to ask though is, are you watching anything, binging anything like the rest of the world right now?
actually, no, man.
No.
I'm binging, Christian programming. I'm binging a lot of Word. My wife and I are in the Word. Like from 4 o'clock in the morning till around 8:30 in the morning. That's kind of like our binge time of prayer, of reading, of hearing the Word. So that's really what I do the most of. And from that time on, the television is off, and it's all about reading scripts, and creating, and processing, those kind of things. So we're not participating with the whole coronavirus thing. We're dealing with, we enjoy, being at home together. So it's like, while people are saying, I'm don't know what to do, we just thank God for it. We're together, and that's good.
I figured there's a couple hundred uh, screenwriter wannabes out in Hollywood right now, cramped in their little tiny, expensive apartment, writing a screenplay called I don't know, pandemic or
Right.
COVID, something like that. Everybody's looking
Right.
for the next
Exactly.
break. What does Cami Arnett want to do? Some rich guy says, I want to fund your project. What's your project?
Wow. I tell people, and I have been asked that before,
Hmm.
because especially since Overcomer, and now I still believe that I have so many offers that are coming down, and so many scripts that I have to read, and so there are certain things that make my decisions. But the people that have asked me concerning investment, I say to them, please don't invest in a project, invest in a company. We miss the fact, and sometimes we're very short-sighted. It's not about making a movie; it's about redefining an industry.
Hmm.
So for me, I look beyond the point of making a film and making a TV series. I'm looking at reprogramming the mindset of society. And so, if anybody has interest in Kami and Kami Arnett Production Studios and Cameron Arnett, what I would say is, man, come alongside. If you have the funds, we're looking to really fund a company that has a mindset, and that's why you see all these hats behind me. That has a mindset of really reprogramming the minds of men. That's really what Christ leaves us here to do. And like I was saying, as far as the caps, the um, it, mantra, if you would, or the slogan, the tagline that God gave us is "Many hats, one mind." And so there are a lot of things that we do in order to get what God wants to be done. We have to wear a lot of different hats. We do a lot of different things, but they're all governed by one mind, and that's the mind of Christ.
Hmm.
And so our concept is many hats, one mind. And so my wife and I, we collect caps from everywhere that we go speak, everywhere that we go on set. We're always collecting those caps in order to represent that perspective to us. And every time that we see the cap, we're thinking of many hats, one mind. And there are many things that God may give you to do, but doing it outside of his way and his will is never a concept. It's always him that has to govern. He's the CEO. We're really COOs. We don't own anything.
Hmm.
So that's how we look at it.
That's cool. I like that a lot. So, um, I feel really bad about binging right now. I feel like maybe I should be spending.
No judgment, man. Come on.
No, no, not you did. It's not because I was just like, okay,
I
I
feel
won't
too
ask him
bad.
about the Tiger King.
Well, what's funny is that the only way that I know about the Tiger King is because I have seen Entertainment Tonight.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because especially when we did the screening out in California of I Still Believe, we were interviewed by Entertainment Tonight, and so it's always been one of the things that we always watch because it has the pulse of the industry. So
Sure.
I got an opportunity to. I'm like, what is this Tiger King? And they were talking about it. I'm like, what is it? So I mean, I only know of it because I saw Entertainment Tonight. I don't know anything
Yeah.
else about it.
Yeah. Two words: train wreck.
Train.
All it is. We are talking to Cameron Arnett. This is his website, and you can see that. You can go to see his filmography, his portfolio, all the things he's doing. He's speaking. I know that I first met you I believe you were speaking at one of these events
Yeah,
here in Dallas. So
we
you
I,
do a
we
lot of
either
that.
met at Content 19 or Global Media Summit. I think it was one of
Yeah.
those two that we met at the first time, and got an opportunity to speak just a little bit. But yeah, that's what if we're not on set, then we're declaring God's word somewhere.
Hmm.
That's our heart.
One thing because so this is what Cammy's referring to is a real kind of insiders group of filmmakers and things like that. And I've been invited just to go, and there's some TV people there, so I feel more like a spectator than a participant. But what's interesting about that, and you've been around long enough to know this, is those events.
You keep on you keep on talking about age some kind of way. Okay, I don't know. Should I get a complex? Or
It's
you
wisdom.
keep on
It's
saying I'm not
wisdom.
going to talk about age, but and you've been
Wisdom.
around long enough.
You,
I hope you guys are catching this. Okay,
you,
all right,
you have
go ahead.
you have the wisdom and experience, is what I'm saying. So, but surely you remember
Surely you remember this.
those gatherings of Christian film people
Uh-huh.
used to be a really desperate bunch,
Yeah,
and
quite a bit.
now it's encouraging. So what I'm trying to lead into, very ungraciously, I should say, um, is what do you tell What do you tell the younger generations about?
Those younger than you.
Yeah, well, about getting into Christian movies, whatever capacity they, actor, writer, director, any of those positions.
Well, God is a supernatural God. So what happens is that you still have to be excellent at your craft. And I think what has
That's
happened
good.
in the past is that people have not been excellent at their craft. They just had a heart for God, which is good, which is great. That is the must. You must have a heart for God. However, you still have to study your craft. You still have to be good at what you do. The
Yes.
world doesn't know your God. The world only understands how excellent you are. And so if you're not excellent, then you can't compete. So I tell them that they have to, you can't, there's something that we used to say all the time, you can't put that'll do sticker on it, because it's Christ. Well, we're talking about Jesus, so that'll do. No, no,
Mhm.
no. You have to be excellent. We serve the God of excellence. And then when we take a look at Old Testament, we understand that the only ones that went into the land were those who had an excellent spirit. And so it's paramount that we as filmmakers, as storytellers, as actors, whether you're in front or behind the camera, if you are within the industry of proclaiming Christ or representing Christ in any facet, know your craft. Be good at what you do, and allow God to give you the skill to do what you do or to do what He wants you to do. You may not end up, a director or producer or whatever, but the bottom line is whatever you do is crucial. It's not small, and if you will do it excellently, it will help the rest of the team to make sure that God is known and He's known well. And I think that is the difference that we see now. People are growing in their excellence, and that's a good thing to see.
You, I'm so glad you said that because that is true in every area. It's true
Correct.
in business. It's true in academics. But man, in the creative community, if
Yeah.
you don't have excellence in your work, it's not just that you might not succeed. It's they will tear you apart.
They will, and
And
rightfully so when it comes to excellence. Think of it again as because again to me everything correlates and everything will preach. It's kind of like a Janus and Jambres kind of situation, Old Testament. When Moses was sent to Pharaoh, there were certain things that they could mimic until they went for the impossible, and those only things that God can do. When they got into a certain realm, they couldn't follow what Moses was doing because only God can do that. And so for us, we have to understand until we are able to come up to the standard of what the world can do, it's hard for them to actually open up and see the rest of what we have in mind, which is what God can do. And so it's important that we be able to match the excellence because yeah, they will tear you up, and again, rightfully so, is because you think that God is okay with non-excellence, and that's not true. That's a misrepresentation of God.
that's, oh, man, I couldn't have said it any better. All right, I appreciate you being with us, and we're going to wrap it up. But tell me anything you want to tell me. If you got something you want to promote or something that's just on your heart, just use your chance just to tell the audience. And most of all,
Well,
thank you for your time. I appreciate
oh
you.
man, not a problem, man. Thanks again for having us because again, your family has been a staple in my life for a long time.
Really?
And oh man, are you kidding me? So it's like this is a full circle, if you would, of being in Christian ministry. Right now, my wife and I, like I said, we have Camionet Production Studios, and we have our first film, which is a trilogy. It's called Maddie. But right now, the first one is called Maddie the Discovery, and it's available. If you go to maddiethemovie.com or maddiethediscovery.com, you'll be able to watch the film. And that's the first installment of a trilogy. It's about a young girl who learns that she's able to see things other people can't see. And her grandmother is basically the through line of Christ within her life, and so she begins to receive that prophetic gift from God, and she doesn't know whether she's going to use it for good or for evil. So we get to discover that journey with her in the first installment. So that's the first film that we had on our plate that's right now available, a screening and also on DVD. So please check it out and share it with anybody that you'd like to.
How do you spell Maddie? I can't find that.
Mattie.
Okay.
Maddie the Discovery, MaddieTheMovie.com.
I'm going to try to pull that up
Oh, look.
so people can see. I want people to see it so that they recognize it. They get in the right place. And I'm having,
Technology is a wonderful thing when
I
it
know,
works.
right? Go live on the air, and if you want things to not work. Having a little trouble. Oh, wait, there it is. There it is. Okay, it's coming
Yeah.
up nice and slow. I'll let people take a look at this. There it is, right there. Very cool.
Oh yeah, that is like I said, it's a trilogy. The first one is called Maddie the Discovery. The one that's when she is revealed within her family, within her school, that kind of thing. And then we move on to the community.
Hello,
That's Maddie the Revelation.
I'm
And then we move
coming
on to Maddie the
in
Manifestation,
Arnett.
or the Redemption. And so the whole point of her at that point is that we're dealing with like a Jeremiah perspective as far as being a prophet to the nations. So it's all of that matriculation, if you would, from her beginning to the end. We also have episodes written for a television series of Maddie, and it's basically more along the lines of a Little House on the Prairie kind of perspective, because you get an opportunity to get more involved in the individuals' lives. And so we've gotten a lot of great feedback from it, and people are enjoying the first film, and we're looking forward to move on to the next.
Very cool. I was going to play it, but it turns out that you can't Skype, live stream, and play video at the same time very well. So, but everybody will have to check that out, and that is MaddieTheDiscovery.com. I pulled it up, and I put that in the chat, so you can just click on the link right there and check it out. With Cameron Arnett, the legend,
The old legend. Been around for a while.
The experience, the wise. Come on, let's spin this thing the right way.
Let's get it.
I'm sure that the gray in the hair is in your hair is just makeup, right?
Oh no. It's just I just did this for you.
Okay, we appreciate it.
I just dolled up for you, man. Come on.
Well, what I do appreciate is you taking the time to come on Live Today Live and talk about the business, because this is fun, and it's been heavy lately, a lot, unfortunately. So this has been a great break, and I encourage people to get out and check out MaddieTheDiscovery.com and watch something good, and then support excellent Christian films, not just any Christian films. And I have a feeling if you see right there on the credits, Cameron Arnett, it's worth watching. All right, so Cam, appreciate you again.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
You guys be blessed, and stay safe, and keep doing the good work.
You too. God bless.
All you guys out there watching, if you did not share this, there's somebody that you know that likes movies. Maybe they like Christian film. Maybe they want to be in movies. This is some great advice. This is some great advice for anybody, but especially someone who has maybe interest in the arts. So wherever you're watching, go ahead and share that right now. If you haven't subscribed or followed, depending on where you're watching, do that so you get notifications. You can see more fabulous interviews right here on Live Today Live. We'll see you again next time.